This is Harold with Hometown Motors in Chillicothe. We're going to talk about some things that the homeowner can do to check his mower and all that before he gets mowing and maybe keep him out of the shop. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to raise the hood and we're going to check the engine oil before we ever start the mower. This particular unit has a Kawasaki motor. Pull the dipstick out. Give it a wipe, drop it back down in. Do not screw the dipstick back down into the engine. It will give you a false reading by doing that. On the Kawasaki's, you just set the dipstick on top of the tube, pull it back out, and take a reading right there and see if it's within the proper safe zone. And if not, then add accordingly there. And they're just kind of taking a look over the engine. It does have a screen on top of the motor to collect debris from going down into the fan on top of the flywheel. This one here does have some debris, so we'll wipe that off by hand and get it off of there. We can take a quick look at the air filter. This, again, on this Kawasaki is pretty easy to check. The air filter is good and clean, so we'll put that back down. We will look at the battery and make sure that the cables are clean and not loose. And also just give a quick look and make sure your cables for your throttle and choke is not binding or anything like that. And make sure your fuel line, no leaks. So we, and cracks or anything like that, which would cause an issue of there. If you haven't greased your mower, some of the tractors does have grease fittings up on the spindles in front between the wheels at the steering places on each side. Give them a couple pumps of grease if you've got a grease gun. The hub for the wheels also has grease fittings on them. Give them a couple shots of grease as well. Make sure that there's no debris around on top of the deck where the belt is running. If there is, clean that all out. This mower deck also has grease fittings for each blade spindle. Give that a couple pumps of grease. You can go about 10 hours between greasing your mower deck as far as that goes. One way to take and clean these decks off, and I always suggest after you're done mowing, is if you don't have an air compressor, most people have gas-powered or electric handheld blower. Use that blower to take and blow your mower off and get the debris off that mower deck. That way it's not building up around the belts and causing issues of that way of overheating the belts or even throwing the belt off or causing the belt to break or have damage in that way. A lot of people, you go by and you'll see that their yard is stair step where their mower deck is not cutting level. A lot of that is because people is not checking their tire pressure. Check the tire pressure on all four tires. If we got the rear, let's say the rear tire is low and everything else is up, and it's basically flat and you're trying to mow, it is going to cut unlevel. So check your tire pressure. I suggest that about once a month. Before you start mowing, pick up any sticks, debris that is in your yard. That also will save a lot of trouble as far as sticks getting wedged up in, throwing a belt off, or maybe there's a piece of pipe or something laying out in the yard or something that got thrown out there, a bottle or anything. You could bend a blade and all that. So again, there's downtime, but that's something that you can prevent if you just do a walkthrough in your yard. So here's some quick preventative maintenance tips that you can take and do. If it's more than that, we're here, so you can bring it to the shop.